Okay, so we know how to complete the square. That's what we've been doing the past couple days. But we haven't completed the square when there's a number in front of the x squared. So that's what we're going to do today. And we only have examples to go through these. Okay, so example number 1. 3x squared plus 12x minus 18 equals 0. So we want to solve this by completing the square, but there is a number in front of the x squared. So what are we going to do? No, we don't want to do, we could factor this regularly, but we're going to complete the square to do it, to practice. So what do we have to do first? We have to move 18 to the other side.
Wait, how come we can't divide by 3?
We are going to.
Oh.
Okay, so those cancel, so we're going to get 3x squared plus 12x plus blank equals 18 plus blank. Okay, let's look at the left-hand side. We want to make this a perfect square trinomial. So Jamie asked a really good question. She said there was a GCF out in the front from the beginning. Why couldn't I factor that first? You can. Okay? Normally. Right now, this is actually factorable. We could have factored out GCF, factored it all out, and then use the diamond method to solve. Okay? However, we are practicing completing the square, so we're going to complete the square using this one. If you can pull out a GCF and factor, do it, because why would you do completing the square if you don't have to? For this problem, just to get used to it, that's why we're doing it. Okay, so I want to make this left-hand side a perfect square trinomial, but I notice that there's a GCF on the left-hand side, so can I pull it out? Yeah, so let's pull out 3. Because we're going to put something in this blank to make it a perfect square trinomial. Okay? So all we did was we factored out the, what we want to do is we always want to factor out.
So you could have done that earlier?
If this problem was given to you and didn't tell you which method to use, yes, you could have. Because we're doing completing the square, you have to wait until after you move the 18 over. You will get the same answer.
I know, but it doesn't matter what method you use, you still get the same answer.
If they don't specify a method, you can use whatever method you want. Okay? Right now we're doing completing the square, so we have to use completing the square. Okay? So because there's a number in front of the x squared, we want to take it out, so we divided the left-hand side by 3, and it was just lucky enough for us that 12 is also divisible by 3. You might not always get that, but you're still going to divide out the a term. Okay? So what do we put in that blank to make it a perfect square trinomial? We divide the middle term by 2. So remember, C equals B divided by 2, all of that squared. So what would I get?
Wait, what's B?
B is the term in front of x. You know how we have ax squared plus bx plus c? That's our standard form.
Okay.
B is the term in front of x.
So what's C?
So C is what we're trying to solve for,
Oh.
the blank. So that would be 4 divided by 2 squared, so that would be 2 squared, which is 4. So we're going to put 4 in the left-hand blank. Now, really quickly, can I put 4 right here?
No.
Why? Because we're multiplying by 3. So what do we have to put? 12. Do not forget that, because we're multiplying by 3 on the outside. So we have to put 12 on the right-hand side.
Wait, hold on.
Okay. Because I factored out a 3 here, this inside is a perfect square trinomial, but I can't put 4 on the right-hand side because I'm actually multiplying the whole perfect square trinomial by 3. So I have to multiply this term by 3 to put it on the outside over here. right? If we were to distribute the 3 back in, we have to keep it balanced. Okay? So, how do I factor this guy? 3 is still on the outside. And how does the perfect square trinomial factor? X plus 2 squared, right? Equals 18 plus 12? 30, good.
Now do you have to continue on? Or?
Of course we have to continue on. We're solving, our instructions are to solve. So what do I have to do? We don't have to do that. I need to get the square by itself, so what do I do first? Divide by 3. So we would get x plus 2 squared equals 10. Okay. Now to get rid of that squared, what do I have to do? I square root both sides. So when I take the square root of both sides, I get x plus 2 equals, what's the square root of 10? Plus or minus square root 10, right? We can't simplify that at all? Okay, and to solve for x? I subtract 2 from each side. So, minus 2. So we get x equals negative 2 plus or minus root 10. And we're done with that one. Okay. Example 2. 5x squared plus 20x plus 14 equals 0. Okay. I know I want to solve this by completing the square. So what do I need to do first? Good. Subtract 14. So that's going to give me 5x squared plus 20x plus blank equals, very good, negative 14. So far so good, right?
Wouldn't be negative 14 plus blank?
Oh, plus blank, thank you. I totally forgot. No, you're right. Okay, now I have that term, that a term in front of the x squared, which I don't want. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. It just so happens that 20 is divisible by 5. If it was not, we would have a fraction as b.
Oh.
So you're always going to pull out whatever the a term is, no matter what. Okay? So we would have 5 times x squared plus 4x plus blank equals negative 14 plus blank. Okay, so we're not pulling out, I just want to make it clear that we're not pulling out the 5 because it's a GCF. We're pulling out the 5 because it's the term in front of x squared.
Oh, wait, what?
So what do I put in the blank here? I need to find c, which is b over 2 squared. So 4 over 2 squared. 2 squared, so it would be 4. What goes in this blank?
20.
Good, 20.
Yeah, but it ends up in a fraction anyways, doesn't it? So
Alright, so after I fill in my blanks, we need to factor this perfect square trinomial. So that's going to be x plus 2 squared, right? Equals negative 14 plus 20. Positive 6. Now what? Good. Divide by 5. So those cancel. So we get x plus 2 squared equals 6 over 5.
How did you get 2 instead of 4?
So now what do I do, Jamie? Huh? You, they already said it.
Third.
Square root it.
Are we back to this?
So we square root both sides, which is going to give me x plus 2. X plus 2 equals plus or minus square root of 6 over 5. Then what?
Subtract 2.
I subtract 2 from both sides. So we get x equals negative 2 plus or minus. How can we rewrite square root of 6 over 5? We can separate the square roots. Square root of 6 over square root of 5. They're the same thing. Why would we change it? Are we allowed to have a square root in the denominator? No. So what do we have to do?
Oh my goodness. I know how to do it.
We have to multiply by square root 5. So then we get x equals negative 2 plus or minus square root of 6 times square root 5. Square root 30. All over? Positive 5. Now we are done.
Can you just reduce that?
We can't reduce it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Last example for 5.6. Example 3. We are given a rectangle with length x plus 8, width x, and we already know the area, which is 40. So we want to solve for x here. How do I find area? Area is what? Length times width. So let's set it up. Length times width is going to give me x times x plus 8 equals, what is my area? 40. So we know that when we multiply the two sides together, we get 40. So let's distribute. And we get x squared plus 8x plus blank equals 40 plus blank. So we're going to use completing the square to solve for x here. They give us 40.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay, what goes in the blank?
It's 16.
Very good. 16. What goes on the right?
16.
16.
Wait, wouldn't it be 32? No.
Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So how does this factor? X plus
4
4
squared.
squared equals
56.
56.
Where did the 8x go?
Next step is square root both sides. So we get x plus 4 equals plus or minus 56. 2 and 14. 2 root 14. There you go. Good job.
That's the answer for right.
Okay, then we subtract 4. So my answer is x equals negative 4 plus or minus 2 root 14. Now let's think about this for a second. I'm looking for x, right? X is a length. Can I have a negative length?
No.
No. So one of these answers does not make sense. Which one is it?
Negative 1. You can't have it.
Negative 4 plus 2 root 14 or negative 4 minus 2 root 14?
Minus.
Minus, right? If we're subtracting from a negative, we're just going more in the negative, right?
Yeah.
So the minus part does not make sense. So our answer is just x equals negative 4 plus 2 root 14.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, sorry.
No,